And this is episode 37 of the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. And my guest today is Natalie Sisson, who's going to teach you how to create a freedom-based business. Welcome to the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Kris Gilbertson, and I'm an author, speaker, and a coach to teaching you how to launch your own successful podcast. And the reason I designed this show is to bring you the top lifestyle entrepreneur experts from all over the world for them to share their key strategies that they've used to launch their own businesses and allow them to live life on their own terms. So tune in every Friday for new episodes and come on over and join the Lifestyle Entrepreneur community at www.lifestyleacademy.com. There you're going to receive VIP training from specific guests from the podcast, along with being able to watch all of the interviews. And I'll also be making it really easy for you to implement these strategies that you're hearing by sending you what I like to call the Lifestyle Cliff Notes on the best lessons learned on the podcast. So let's get started. All right, so before we get started with the show, I just want to thank everyone who is subscribing and leaving awesome reviews in iTunes. I'm so excited that people are enjoying these interviews. And I'm excited to announce First Fridays. So what I'm going to be doing the first Friday of every month, we're going to have a raffle for those of you that have subscribed to the podcast and then also left a review. And it'll be a raffle for $25 gift cards from iTunes, Amazon, eBay, all over the place. So all you simply need to do is just subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and then leave us a review and your name will go in a hat and we'll announce that the first Friday of every month. And this week's loyal listener shout out goes out to entreprenative.com. And they say one of the best, 5 stars. I love this podcast and have listened to every episode. I love how Kris is genuinely interested in each guest and is learning a lot of new stuff right along with the audience. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for your awesome review. And yes, if you ever stop learning, you know your journey has ended there. So leaders are learners to the end. And I definitely am always learning new things on the show and will continue to keep bringing on incredible guests to help you excel in your business and your lifestyle. So definitely tweet me over at Kris Gilbertson to let me know guests and topics that you're interested in. I've been getting some incredible tweets in, and I cannot wait to bring on some new experts in the areas that you're really looking for because, again, this is all about you and helping you excel and create that lifestyle that you dream of. So let's get at it. Well, welcome everyone. I am so excited and honored for our guest today. Her name is Natalie Sisson, and she's actually from New Zealand. And I actually caught her when she's coming back in New Zealand right now, and she hasn't been there for 2 years. So this is really exciting because what I love about Natalie is she's built truly a lifestyle business. As a lifestyle entrepreneur, she's all about freedom and all about being able to live your life the way you choose to through how you want to do that with your business. So it's great. She's on a mission to ensure that over 100,000 entrepreneurs build a mobile business and lifestyle they love by 2020. And she's well on her way already. And so what's so exciting is she left corporate America and got started with her career as a lifestyle entrepreneur. And I'm going to let her tell her story, but she's an author of The Suitcase Entrepreneur, which you can find on Amazon. And I'm going to let her go into all the details that she's done because her story is so epic and how she's left and transitioned that I want her to give it for you. So welcome, Natalie. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
I'm so excited to have you here. So I'd love for you to share your journey because how you've transitioned and what you've built is absolutely incredible and what you've gone through. So I'd love for you to share that story and how you got started.
Yeah, I'd love to because I guess it is a little bit different, or maybe not. I've always taken a leap of faith in my life, and I'm really grateful for having the guts to do that, sometimes to the amusement of my friends who think I'm crazy. So as you mentioned, I did do the whole traditional corporate route, and I really enjoyed a lot of the roles that I did. So 8 years in the corporate world of branding and marketing and event management and business development, and I think it gave me all these incredible skills that I could apply to my own business. But it was around 2008 when I was in what would be my dream job on paper, which was a business development role, massive salary, amazing, supposedly organization, lots of development and depth within the role. And I just got blocked at every single turn by the very people who had hired me to do this. And I just remember it was the only time in my life that I woke up not wanting to go to work, which was really rare for me because usually I'm very motivated. I love being able to make an impact. The roles that I'd chosen throughout my life were always quite entrepreneurial in nature. Like I got to control a lot of things and really make an impact and do it within my own department or my own remit. But this was the one that threw me over the edge. And in a state of just, this is enough is enough. Like, I don't need to put up with this crap anymore. I quit my job. I just got a pay rise. I just invested in a house in London. And I flew all the way across to Vancouver, Canada to play World Championship Ultimate Frisbee. And my friends are like, "You crazy?" And I was like, well, if my friends think I'm crazy, then I know I'm doing the right thing, right? Like pushing those boundaries. So that was kind of where the journey started, because I arrived in Vancouver with no friends, no business, no savings really, and thought, well, I want to start my own business. I had an idea of what I wanted it to be in, but luckily instead I found my co-founder of a technology company over a big wine and cheese board, and we went on to build that for the next 18 months to 2 years. So that was probably even better than starting my own business, because I got a touch and feel of the whole entrepreneurial world without having all the pressure on myself. He put up a lot of the money for the development. We built a Facebook application, actually, which is now the #1 fundraising app on Facebook, called Fundraiser. I don't take all the credit for that, but that was what we started with. So I feel like it was something that I helped to nurture. And from there, I started a blog, and this is where it all begins, I guess, because during that time, I was just immersed in the entrepreneurial world, as learning so much about investing and financial models and all these crazy things. And I felt out of my depth a lot of the time. We were working crazy hours, was surrounded by men, which I love, but I was like, where are all the women? And so I started a blog to talk about my experiences and share what I was learning, because I thought I am learning so much. I'm sure this is useful for other people. And also I use my blog as a way to interview people, kind of like we're doing now, to talk to the women entrepreneurs on how they built successful tech businesses. And that blog, cut forward to today, is my entire business. It's my entire life. So you know, I have an absolute adoration for social media and the power of blogging and personal branding, and really thinking about what your skill set is that you'd love to do and turning it into something that people will actually pay you for. We can go into all of that, but that is essentially, now I have a business, The Suitcase Entrepreneur. I live in my suitcase. I do live in my suitcase. I do not have a base. I have 8 revenue streams coming in through my blog, through coaching, through digital products and programs, sponsorships, affiliate marketing, events, workshops, books, speaking. And it's been a wild and crazy journey. And had you told me 3.5 years ago I'd be doing this, I'd be like, what? So that's me.
So let's back up for a second. So you said, now you were in London. So you left New Zealand and went to London for the job, and then you decided to pick up and go to Vancouver. So with Vancouver, did you have any tech experience? Did you go to school for that, or did you just dive in?
No, I had none. But I guess I've always been quite technically inclined. Like, I'm a little bit of a geek. I'm pretty good at picking up on things quickly. And I was loving social media and online tools and getting into a little bit of software. But no, I'm not a tech focus. I'm not a developer. I'm not a coder. That is not my natural go-to piece. But I am very good at learning stuff and applying it and using it.
Excellent. So what was the biggest takeaway you can have for people that are starting a tech business or that type of business to help them succeed?
Biggest takeaway: surround yourself with mentors and people who know what they're doing from day one. Like, I sometimes feel like listening to advice from people who've been there and done it, launched their own successful company, whether it's tech or not, been through the ups and downs and the roller coaster ride of entrepreneurship, then you're going to be just off to a much better start. And I'd say you probably know the same. And like, if you want to start a podcast show, I come to you. Like, I'd want to go to the best person possible who's done it, knows what they're doing, and I want to fast track my learning, invest in that, and get going. And I know as entrepreneurs, we often don't have the money and we think we're bootstrapping, and there are a lot of amazing free resources out there. But where I've seen the best results is when I've started investing with mentors, other entrepreneurs around me, coaching, etc. So that'd be my biggest piece of advice.
Excellent. I love it. Now, the app that you created, is that the original product that was the tech startup? Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's changed a lot. So when we had it, it was definitely different, but they've really improved on it. It's incredible now. They've done a lot of integration with PayPal, worked with them really closely, and it's just an amazing app, completely different to how it was when we had it.
Right. That world changes so fast. I mean, social media in general. So let's dive into the Suitcase Entrepreneur. I just love your website. it. I love the brand of what you've created. So what I see a lot of entrepreneurs struggling with, and actually quite a few people have tweeted in about for the show, is they want to talk about more about how do you get started with what's your brand? And I know you're really good at this. So talk about how you developed that and really how you found your niche in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. And I would love to say it was straightforward and easy, but it kind of wasn't. And my biggest piece of advice now to people is please just be yourself from day one. Don't hide behind something else. Just be exactly, exclusively, uniquely who you are. So I hid behind my brand for a long time, and my blog was initially called Woman's World, and I had that typical silhouette of a woman with high heels and a briefcase walking along the banner. And I was looking back at that now, I'm like, what was I thinking? It was so vanilla, it was so generic. And I know if there's people out there who have silhouettes of women, yes, I'm talking to you, because everybody was like, but I want to hear from you, Natalie, and all I can see is this kind of this thing that you're hiding behind. So it took a while. Like, I really was not wanting to be at the front of it. I was wanting to interview other women. I was wanting to shine the light on other people. But then I realized the blog posts and the work that I was doing when it was just authentically me was the stuff that people read the most. And that's when I realized, you know what, I really have to front up and be this brand. I am traveling around, and I was actually at a conference speaking to people going, this is how I help people to build an online business they can run from anywhere using online tools and technology and social media. And the guy's like, oh, so you're a traveling entrepreneur? And I was like, yeah, I am. And he's like, you're like the suitcase entrepreneur? And I was like, brilliant. You know, when you have one of those aha moments, I was like, yes. And he's like, buy the domain. And I was like, I will. And I did. And that's honestly, when I had that brand in my mind, I was like, okay, everything fell into place. I am the suitcase entrepreneur. I live in my suitcase. And also suitcase entrepreneur to me and to many others suddenly meant, you know, mobile lifestyle, location independence, packing things up to be more systematic, being able to just take off whenever you want, and really systemizing that business and making it mobile. So it all fell into place. I put myself on the front of my website, which was scary as hell. I started blogging from my own perspective more. Everything that I produced was on my own personal brand. And that's when the business started doing this. Because suddenly people were like, where have you been all my life, Natalie? Like, now they can relate to me, or they can be put off by me. One thing or the other. It doesn't matter now. I've got like people who love my work and want to be part of my community. They come in. Other people can go away. Before, there was like nothing to define that. You know, they're like, what is this?
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And you do want to have that push-pull. You want to attract the people that you want to work with anyway. And I love that. I think I think women more specifically, we have that coming of moment where it's like, okay, to be our authentic selves, it's okay. Like, we give you approval to be yourself because I went through that as well. So I think that's brilliant. So let's talk about how you started to then create your products and start your funnels, because that's really important as an entrepreneur. We can all get out there and start blogging and podcasting, but if you don't have a funnel set up, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure to begin with. So I want you to talk about how you've systematized all that and been able to travel all over the world and build your business.
Yeah, big question and so important. So the very first product was a social media bootcamp. I ran it as a physical workshop 3 times actually, and it was a sellout. And I was like, okay, wonder if I can turn this into an online program. So I left Canada while developing the online program, launched it while in Argentina. Just all these things that I made my life more difficult, because I was like, let's take this business on the road. And I ran a webinar to like 30 people. I made 1 sale, and I was like, yes, this stuff works. Not that 1 sale was going to fund my empanada habit in
But then you know that you could do more.
I could do more. And I wouldn't say from there it just went like this. In fact, it kind of went like this and then like this. And I just got better at launching. I obviously sold more than just 1, luckily. I went on to launch a book, which was part of a blog series. So I just got smarter about taking content, repurposing it, turning it into valuable, packageable information and knowledge that people could access and actually were willing to pay for. And this is something I get pushback from people like, oh, but all the information out there is already free, you know, when people are starting a business. And I'm like, for sure it is, but how often do you get really good information from free stuff? First of all, you have to go out and find it, read it, apply it, see, get inundated. Whereas if it's bundled into something that's just there specifically for you with one result in mind, then that's actually worth paying for. It's what books are for. It's what, you know, podcasts are for. We're bundling that specific information. And so when I kind of had that was the green light really to think, how could I keep evolving my digital products and programs in line with what I'm helping people to do? So I created a toolkit around fantastic online tools to streamline your business. I created my Build Your Online Business Guide to give people the 12 kind of pillars of setting up an online business. And then to speak to yours, I also realized people were terrible at finding their niche, or their niche, as I like to call it. So I created Am I Your Customer, which is all about who is your ideal customer? How do you find them? How do you niche down? And then how do you create valuable products? And then I created the Sales Funnel book, because you just spoke to that. Even myself didn't have a really solid, clear way of getting traffic, qualified traffic, generating qualified leads, turning them into subscribers, turning them into your tribe, turning them into potential long-term customers. So recently wrote a book on that as well, and that's just come through learning and applying. I'm happy to talk about my kind of sales funnel if that helps, but we can come back to that as well.
No, I'd love for you to do that, because, and then we can talk more about the lifestyle piece of it, because how you've structured it is how a lot of people want to be able to do that. I work with a lot of people that want to travel. They want to, maybe now their kids are older, or, they want to do a lot of different things. So I'd love for you to share your funnel and how you set that up, because we all have a different, unique perspective in how we build our funnels, and it creates a different lifestyle, every little one of them.
Yeah. And hopefully this will apply to everybody, but what I've seen in my business, so I'm predominantly online, is that people will find me through social media, because I have a great setup on social media. I'm active, I engage in the right places, I know who I want to speak to, I hang out in those groups, I hang out on those sites where my ideal audience is, and I share things. I'm sharing valuable information, links to my site, links to other people's resources. So you just become known as this helpful go-to person. And then a lot of those people will come back to my site, so they'll read the blog post if they like it, they'll sign up to my newsletter, then they're in my community, then they're in an autoresponder series where I welcome them in. I get them to introduce themselves, and they do, and it's awesome, because it's gold to me to know who's reading my blog. And they get more information, they listen to my podcast like yours, they watch my videos, they start to buy into who I am, and if they like what I'm saying and it's useful, then they might buy an entry-level product, and then they're kind of in that scheme, and they'll get follow-ups about that as well, saying, how are you finding it? Like, please take action. It's my biggest bugbear. Take action. Don't just read the book and think it's going to solve your problems. So they like that about me, or they don't like that about me, because I'm kind of like, come on. And then they might step up to do something like join my High Flyer Club, or coaching with me, or potentially coming to my workshops. And that's the way I've seen it go, which is really interesting. Sometimes that can be a week and they'll already be buying something from me. Sometimes they can be in my community for 2 years. Like, I met a lady at an event the other night. She'd been in my community for 3 years. And I was like, oh, you stuck with me that long? Like, thought I might be boring by now. But no, it's because I'm taking them on the journey with me. And every time I develop, I hopefully develop other people. And that's what I call in my book something about being the leading learner. So every time you're learning stuff, there is always going to be somebody 2 steps behind you that if you can share it with them and coach them and teach them in a way that they get it, that's valuable to them, right? And that's what I think I've done a particularly good job of. It's being a leading learner, sharing by example, living and breathing what I'm doing, and just applying and tweaking and optimizing these systems as I go.
Yes, I love that. Leading learner, I love that. That's fantastic, because you're always an expert to someone. And I think a lot of us, we get overwhelmed in the beginning. I know I did, where it was like, wait, I'm not the expert, but you don't have to be. There's always someone there. And that's how you build your platform and how you get started. And I love that you're like, take action, because once they get into it, you start to have more ideas. Big action. Exactly. So let's talk about so you really started your business on the road. I mean, you really started right from the beginning. So talk about that, and what were the struggles that you overcame through that? Because I can only imagine with traveling and then having to deal with the tech piece at the same time. How did you do it, woman?
It's been a good lesson. Well, I've actually been traveling since I was a kid, so I really credit my parents to just giving us that mindset of, here's your little suitcase and this is all you've got to work with. But I never really thought that I'd end up living out of it. I'm actually a pretty systemized person. I always thought I was a free spirit, and I am, but I've learned over the years that through ruthless discipline, you have more freedom. So I haven't got it all worked out, but I have really good tools that I use. I have systems when I'm offline. That's when I get my most creative work done. So in terms of how I set it up, I started with Argentina. I went there for 5 months. I rented a little place. I figured out places I could work from cafes and from my apartment, and met a few people. And then I took it on the road and did it a little bit more frequently. So I went back to the US and then on to Europe. And essentially, I think just during that time, I got better at going, okay, well, when I'm on the road, it's very hard to schedule coaching calls. So I should make them just on particular days, know and commit to those days that on those days I need to be stationary with a quiet place and good internet. And the rest of the time I'm offline, I'm not available. And that's when I get to do my content creation, my product launches, writing my blogs, doing my podcast interviews, etc. So that came into it. Then it was just using really cool online tools. And I know you know them, but PayPal, Lifesaver, you get paid, Dropbox, everything in the cloud, can access it at any time. If my laptop gets stolen, I haven't lost anything aside from my laptop. Everything's online, Google everything, Evernote. People talk about these, but it's about finding your own system. And if I can nail it down to 3 that my team and I use, it's Dropbox. So that's where all our standard operating procedures are, our main files, our how-tos. Google Docs for anything that we're doing that's more live, up to date, needs to be active, Google Hangouts, Gmail. And then Asana, which is an awesome project management tool. Do you use it?
Yeah, I just started incorporating it. Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. And it's free, thanks to the guys at Facebook who sort of developed it. And I use it for my to-dos and what I'm on track to do. The team uses it for that as well. So those 3 tools alone have revolutionized what I do. And then I use Schedule Once for my calendar, because as you can imagine, my calendar is time zone like all over the place. So I have three calendars set up on it, which I plan out for whichever time zone I'm in. It's just an example of how I've gone about it. I've done a lot of videos actually on how to pack, on how to get routine in your day when you don't have routine at all. So if people are wondering about that, once again, I think it comes back to just being really disciplined. So on an ideal day, I'll do my exercise first thing, no matter where I am in the world, whether it's running or swimming or cycling or just yoga. And then I will do my gratitudes and kind of figure out what my most important actions are for the day. And I will make sure I get those most important actions, no more than 3, done before anything else. And then, really have systems, as you probably do, around this afternoon is my marketing time, or it's my admin time, or it's my finance time, or it's my engagement time. And it's just systems that work for you.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to talk about the travel piece a little bit. So do you have a specific, because I used to travel 6 days a week for work. So I always had, okay, this book goes in my suitcase. Like I almost had it pre-packed every single week. So what about for you because you're on the go for how long at a time? I just find it so intriguing.
I just feel I'm always on the go. So this year in particular, I feel like I've been to 18 countries, and the longest I've spent anywhere was almost 2 months. And the rest of the time it was like a week, 3 days, 3 weeks, like pretty nuts.
So you just keep hopping. You don't go back. Yeah.
It's like go back to like the US quite frequently, or Canada, or to Europe. But for example, next year I'm going to be doing hopefully more like the 3 months, and staying put a little bit more, because I would love to. I've been doing this for 4 years full time, and I'm excited about having a bit more of a base.
That's what I was just going to ask. Are you going to settle down and just find one location that you want to live at, or are you still going to have the travel bug a little bit?
I don't know if it will ever be 1, but maybe 2 or 3. But I definitely feel I can have bases where I go back to, where the community is there, where my friends are, where my sports are, where my business thrives, and I have the lifestyle that I want. So I'm still working that out, but next year is going to be the first test of that.
What are your 3 top spots if you had to choose?
So right now I'm looking at, as my perfect ideal world, this side of the world for this time of the year. It's beautiful. It's summer here. So I would love to come back to New Zealand. My family is here. I have good friends here. And then the next part would be Europe for sort of 3 to 4 months during their spring, summer is incredible. Then to the US for 3 months, which is my maximum I can spend there during their kind of heavy conference season and the end of their summer, and then back over this way again. So in an ideal world, that's what I'm looking at, with some little side trips potentially to other parts of the world while you're there. So in Europe, of course, you can go anywhere. Here, you go to the islands, Southeast Asia, Australia, very easy. And in America, it's just, South America and all those Central America easy. So that's the grand scheme of things.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I just admire how you've traveled and done this all and put this all together. So how big of a staff do you have? Who do you have helping you to manage this while you travel?
I have 7 now. Actually, I just looked at the other day, but they're all like part-time retainer. Nobody is full-time. I like keeping it lean and mean. I have a podcast editor who does just the podcast editing, a video editor, just the video editing. I have my chief happiness officer, Cher, and she helps with the write-ups around the podcast and the videos, some strategy, just customer service and happiness. I have an systems lady now who's kind of like becoming my right-hand woman on that front and managing the team a bit more. I have a WordPress tech person who's on retainer and does several updates. And I have a virtual assistant sort of extraordinaire who's, in on there as well. So it's pretty awesome. And I feel really lucky to have such a great team. and they're all virtual around the world.
That's what I love. So what did you start out with when you first started your business?
Virtual assistant, actually. Yeah. So I was like, what do I hand over? I'm going away to bike down Africa for 2 months. I'm going to be kind of offline, maybe just need to make sure that my systems are in place. And really, she was just there for maintenance, making sure any customers were happy and just making sure that the things I'd scheduled went out and just keeping on track of some social media. But outside of that, it's grown from there just as my business has grown and the amount of content that I put out and activities that I'm involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are your favorite types of products to make based on your lifestyle business?
Do you know, I used to love, and I still do, creating ebooks. I love to write, and I like the action points that you can put with them and combine them sometimes with videos or audios to go with that. I like online training programs whereby people have a definite kind of purpose and a result they're going to get. But ultimately, when I really look at it, I just love bringing people together to network and mastermind together and get high-end results, and bringing in other experts as well, in addition to hearing my own voice, to really do that. So that's why my High Flyer Club is the thing I'm probably most excited about, as we just talked about, because it's the first kind of premium exclusive elite club for established entrepreneurs. I feel my blog, my podcast, my videos are great for beginners, people just starting out who want that information. There is so much content and advice there. But now I really want to work with people who are wanting to take it to the next level, because that's exactly where I'm at. And so, and you know this, and it's exciting. They're willing to invest more in themselves, and it's more exclusive, going back to the good old days where that mattered and quality mattered. And so that's what I'm excited about creating now.
Excellent. Now, who are the typical entrepreneurs that you work with that come into your funnel that you work with?
A range of men and women. And they have business, they've maybe been going for a while, but they're really wanting to take it more online. So they're wanting to understand how to better streamline their day, how to create systems, how to use the right online tools. They're wanting to understand how to build their personal brand, get more clients, get more revenue. It's the same old things, eh? More clients, more money, more time.
Right. Fantastic. Well, I love that. So let's talk about, there's just still so many questions. I want to kind of just side rail here for a second. So you're big into fitness and doing a lot of cool stuff. So you did a bodybuilding competition, and I want you to talk about that. What was that experience like? Had you done it before? And kind of what was that all about?
So first off, I wasn't like Annie. I was it was cheap body sculpting.
That's what I meant.
No, it's similar. You still get very muscular, but you're still supposed to look more feminine and just streamlined. I had never done it before. I had always been involved in sports. I always stayed at the same sort of weight, and I was like, I just want to change things up. And I was going to start doing triathlons, and instead, the lady I'd hired to help me with that looked amazing and lean and buff. And I like muscles on women sometimes. I like them to look fit. And I was like, wow, how did you get in such good shape? And she said, me pointing at her muscles, she said, I was training for a body sculpting competition, but I pulled out because I couldn't give up eating sweets. And it just seemed to me such a strange thing to get all that weight and lose all that weight and look amazing and lean and fit and not give up sweets. So I was like, I'm going to try this out. I looked it up online. I was like, there's a competition in 9 months. This is the strangest looking sport I've ever seen. I'm just going to give it a shot. And it was 2004, a long time ago, so don't look at me like that now. But I just remember that being one of my most successful years, because I learned so much about my body, so much about my strength, what you can push in your boundaries and your mindset and in your body. I became really disciplined. I was at the gym at 5:30 every morning and then again in the evening. I decided to study extramurally that year and learn about exercise prescription and nutrition because I was so fascinated. I got my first ever full-time brand management job, so it was everything was happening, and I became unstoppable during that year. I was reading Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins, and I was working on my values and my personal development and my NLP. And so I really look back on that time as probably one of the most challenging. Like, it was hard work, but it was such an incredible year of when I realized anything you put your mind to, you can achieve when you have a singular focus. And so I won my competition. I did all my posing, and I brought myself up, and I won it. And I was like, never going to do that again. I missed my food, and I was a cranky bitch for a big part of that, as my friends told me. So, but there was a lot of fundamental lessons to be learned about it. So, yeah, a really good challenge. And when you're in that peak physical shape, you have a lot of clarity. I was sleeping better. There was definitely a time at which I want to get back to that, of having so much focus and clarity and energy and it translated across every area of my life.
Yeah, I think that's so intriguing because I know a lot with the fitness and the mindset. It's all connected, how everything we do and how we do that. So I thought that was really unique that you did that, and just congratulations on that. That's no easy feat by any means. So I think that's fantastic. So what are some other tips or advice that you can share that you've learned along your journey of how to get your business set up where it really, a lot of it is on autopilot right now for you, so you can go travel the world and do what you want to do when you want to do it?
Yeah, it's definitely on autopilot to a good extent, and I think also just building a team. I'm still very engaged. Like, I love engaging online, and I love having the feedback personally from my customers and my clients and my tribe. But there are just things that we repeatedly do and we just don't need to be. And I think the biggest thing for me has been noticing where my zone of genius is and then handing over the rest, because I may be good at details and I may be good at checking analytics and I potentially can play with my code, but it's not my skill set. I'm best out front teaching, leading, like you, interviewing, transferring that knowledge, inspiring others, helping them have their breakthroughs. And doing that work allows me then to really work with my team to get the other stuff done. A lot of it has just been the beautiful SOPs, the standard operating procedures. If you're doing something every day anyway, record it with a screencast like Jing, have that written up, transcribed, or get your team to write it up, or get a transcriber to do it, and then you have this wonderful document, like a 2-page guide on exactly how to do that thing that you don't enjoy. And that has pretty much been the key to everything. So I've done that for every single thing: how to format a blog post properly, how to put up the video properly, how to go about reaching out to podcast requests, how to deal with media interviews. Like, we now have forms and like methods that we send them to. So it's taken me out of the equation, and it kind of puts a filter between you and that end result. Yep. So just free up your time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. And it sounds, I mean, when we listen to ourselves, sometimes like it seems so simple, but really if you just do that, it changes your world, because then you have everything all set up. And then if anything does happen, we have to bring a new person on. You've got everything that you need to send them to train them and get them set up. So I think it's fantastic. So what does 2014 have in store for you?
Excited. So focus is probably my word for 2014. It is my word, sorry, focus, and a little bit of fun. Got to have fun. So my High Flyer Club is my absolute focus for the year. I want to put my all into it. I want to get incredible results for the members. I want to build it up to the 100 members and no more. And I want to work with these people in this mastermind mentoring capacity. Along with that, just streamlining the systems even more, incredible interviews on my podcast, more great videos, and really more mainstream media, more speaking opportunities as a part of building the brand. So there's the High Flyer Club focus, and then there's building this brand more so more people get the message. I want to impact those 100,000 people. So I need to get it out there in a big way. And I also have an exciting development that is either going to fly or fall flat on its face, which I'm cool about, which is this whole thing around a virtual A-team. So I've realized the power of having a team. And I think the biggest reason where entrepreneurs get stuck is they either don't have the resources, the time, or the team. So I was like, what about if you had your perfect virtual A-team, which is mainly virtual assistants, but sometimes a copywriter, SEO, tech person, launch person, etc., at your disposal for you to just take a certain amount of hours per month. So in a nutshell, it sounds amazing. To put it together is going to be a lot more work, but that could potentially be its own line of business, and it's something I think is needed, and all the people in my community have been crying out for. So if I can pull that off, it'd be wonderful, and it's totally in line with my values of helping people get from here to here and free up time and get more money.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. It's almost like virtual, but it's for the online world with the launch and everything else that we need, because all of those are different funnels: SEO, copywriting, the marketing, the launch. I think that's brilliant. So I'm excited to hear how that launches, and if I can help you with that too. I think that's fantastic for resources, because there's a lot of my team is part-time too. So it's different places, and they're still always looking for other work, and then different people want to switch to work with different areas. So I think it's fantastic. I love that. I think it'll fly. We'll see. Yeah. So the last thing I want to add, well, 2 more questions. So one, how did you get started podcasting? How did that come into your mix? Because you started blogging and then you added your podcast on later.
Yeah, I did. I've had it for like close to 2 years now, but I really didn't do a lot with it initially. So I would podcast once a month. And I would have somebody that I would interview who was in line with my community and the values, and I'd bring them on to share their knowledge. And I didn't pay it, I just wanted to try it out in addition to blogging. And I thought it was quite a good avenue for me with the interviewing style. And kind of that's how I had done it with Women's World initially, but that was all written interviews. Plus, I just love podcasting, right? You get so much value packed into half an hour and an hour. And it's my natural state is to interview and be curious and get information out of people just like you're doing. And it's also easier. You don't have to write for hours. So I tried it out and I got quite a good engagement, but I really didn't focus on it. I was focusing on digital products. And then I started seeing earlier this year, this massive spike. I don't know if I got in some hot list or whatever, but suddenly I was like, wow, there's like thousands of downloads. And now it's kind of going like this, which I feel is a pretty big trend. But I just suddenly took notice and started going, right, well, how can I make this better? So I just focused more on my interviews. I got an even better quality guest. I became better at interviewing. I focused more on how to market it, how to give people more resources. I started getting opt-in to get the podcast, to give them a download, a freebie. And then I went to twice a month, and that's really helped as well. And I just started getting a ton of feedback and mentions from the community. So I was like, this is something that people are really appreciating and valuing. So I just put more focus into it. And when you focus on something, things start to happen.
Exactly. Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. Yeah, podcasting it's just an epic medium. I just love it. Especially, I'm a lot like you are writing. You're probably more of a writer than I am, actually. And it's just, speaking is so much easier for me. Even just getting on a mic and then having dictated. For me to sit down and write a blog post, it's like, oh. So I love it. That's fantastic. So for the last question then, well, one, where can everybody find out about you right now and your new program that you've got launching?
So they can come to suitcaseentrepreneur.com. I would love it. That's my main blog site. And for the high flyer, suitcaseentrepreneur.com/high flyer, which is FLYER. And, they may or may not be a right fit for it. It's an application-only process. It's very exclusive, and I'm really excited about it. But, yeah, I'm all over social media, but all of those sites can be found at suitcaseentrepreneur.com.
Excellent. And then if I'll have all of Natalie's information in the show notes, her podcast, everything where you can find her in the links. And she also gave the listeners an amazing bonus on how to create a podcast that means something and really creates results. So that'll be a bonus as well when you opt in at lifestyleacademy.com, and you'll get in touch with everything that she's working on, which is so exciting. So the last question I have for you is what I've been asking for years for entrepreneurs that I always love is, if you had to start over today, knowing what you know now, and you don't have any resources and no team, what would you do to rebuild the empire that you've created?
I love that. And I saw that question. I was like, ooh. The biggest thing is I would develop self-belief from the get-go. So I would truly 100% believe in whatever it was, the endeavor that I was undertaking. Anything else aside from that just won't matter unless you truly believe in it. And I waffled around for a little too long thinking that I couldn't be that person, I couldn't be that expert. So I would say, believe in yourself, fake it till you make it. I know everybody says it, but it kind of works. In fact, it definitely works. And just go 100% after this thing that you want to achieve. Stay focused on the vision. And honestly, self-belief, and you're the only person who's going to be able to do this. So
it's brilliant. I love it. I love it. It is. Focus is so key. And mindset. I love that you talk about mindset, because it doesn't matter what systems, what you've got going on. If you don't have the mindset that you're going to get there, it's never going to happen anyway. So I think it's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for taking time. I'm so glad I got to catch you when you were home in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you enjoyed that episode. I'd love to get your feedback here for the Lifestylepreneur podcast right in iTunes. Simply leave us a 5-star and a review letting us know what you like, who you're interested in hearing more from, and what topics you really want help with in your business, that I can bring on those key experts to really fine tune and help you in your business and creating the lifestyle of your dreams. And I'll be giving shout outs, so make sure you put your name and your website address if you want me to share that with the community as well. And again, thanks for listening. I'm so excited that you found the Lifestylepreneur podcast, and I can't wait to connect with you and learn more about your business as we continue to grow this community. So again, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Lifestylepreneur Podcast. Again, I'm Kris Gilbertson, and I'm committed to bringing you top training from leading lifestylepreneurs all over the world to help you break through and turn your dreams into your ideal lifestyle. And make sure to join us at www.lifestyleacademy.com to receive VIP training from specific guests I interview on the show so that you can really easily start to implement what you've learned from listening. I know we're all busy, and sometimes we don't have time to listen to the entire podcast or take notes because I'm always listening on the go. So I like to call it the lifestyle cliff notes to creating your ideal business and make it really simple for you. So those will be sent via the email list. Plus, I also want to connect with you personally, and being on the Lifestyle Academy mailing list is where all the magic happens. We'll host VIP trainings once a month that we can't always bring out on the podcast with even more detailed information. And I also want to connect with you personally. I want to know what's going on in your business and what you need help with and who I can bring on to aid you in creating your ideal lifestyle. And so I'll be asking questions every once in a while that I want you to reply, and I reply back to you personally. So again, until next time, wishing you on your way to achieving all of your dreams. Talk to you soon.